I have to ask you, what's the risk of a couple of your fellow Republicans flipping on this appointment?
I think it's very low. I believe that, as Senator Kennedy mentioned earlier in an earlier segment, the nominee that the president has put forth has some of the most remarkable academic and bench credentials of virtually any nominee in modern times. So I think that if you look at his record, you can see that he doesn't want to be an activist. He doesn't want to be a legislator. He wants to be a judge who interprets the Constitution and the laws in the way that I think any judge of the Supreme Court or justice should.
He has, of course, a superb career, as you mentioned, and a track record, but that's also because Judge Kavanaugh is a Washington insider. Will his appointment be perceived as going against the president's own promise to drain the swamp?
Well, you have to keep in mind that he was born and raised in Washington. His mother, who was a judge, was a high school teacher in the district. So I don't think it's appropriate to say just because he's worked in public service that he's an insider that came from somewhere else. He's a Washingtonian. He's also extraordinarily well qualified, both in terms of academia, but what he does in the community. And he's got some 300 opinions that the members can look at and judge for themselves what I believe is a great track record of good, independent jurisprudence.
So, Senator, as you say, 300 opinions, he's got a great track record, but it's a long track record. I'm told there's more than 1 million pages of documents. Is it a fair claim for the Democrats to say, wait a second, we need a little time to sort this out? We can't look at over 1 million pages in any short period of time.
Well, I think we need to boil it down to the relevant information. His role when he was President Bush's secretary, I think it's a legitimate question to take a look at any information that may lead them to questions that they want to ask. But the reality is you can already see the narrative is that we need to take a long time. I don't know how long that is, but I believe that he's been on the list since, I believe, July of 2016. Judge Kavanaugh, I'm sure, has already been vetted by a number of outside groups that if I were the Democrats, I'd be looking to for advice. I think we can get this done in an expeditious manner, and I think we'll have the votes to get them on the bench before the next session.
So what is expeditious? Give us your sense. I know you're not directly responsible for setting the time for the hearings, but when do you think we could have hearings?
Well, I think we could have hearings as early as August. You know, we've canceled the August recess, so we have the capacity to do it in August. We have the capacity to go through the process and still have a vote long before the session begins, and I think that's the timeline we're working on. It's a timeline very similar to Sotomayor and Justice Gorsuch. It could expand a little bit, but I think there's still ample time to get it done.
President Trump has a busy morning on his way to Brussels. We know that he's repeatedly said the NATO allies haven't boosted defense spending enough. What would you say to that?
I think we're seeing positive trends. We've reconstituted the Senate NATO Observer Group. I co-chair the group along with Senator Shaheen. We'll be going to Brussels to basically affirm that we think the NATO alliance is one of the most important military alliances that's ever existed in history. Our partners are important to us. They're trending in the right direction in terms of spending. But keep in mind, when we're talking about investing in NATO, what we're really talking about is investing in your own readiness and capabilities so that you can keep your men and women uniform safe, but you can also keep American military personnel safe if we have to come there and satisfy our treaty alliance, which is to protect and defend their freedom. So I think that we're working in the right direction, but it's also important to let NATO know that Congress believes in the alliance and we're there to make it stronger.
Is the United States working in the right direction when it comes to its relationship with Russia?
Well, I think it's very difficult with Putin to know what he wants and to really rely on him acting consistently. So I think that that's going to be something that we're going to have ups and downs. I think the president is right to engage Putin, but you also have to realize, at least speaking from one senator's perspective, I don't trust him. I don't really know what he wants. I don't like his aggressive stances in the Ukraine. And so there are a number of reasons why we need to be very skeptical about any movement towards a friendlier relationship with Russia without very clear evidence that he wants to go in it in I think, a very productive, constructive manner.
Senator, the juxtaposition of the NATO meetings at the beginning and the summit with Vladimir Putin at the end is not lost on anyone. How do we avoid, as the United States, the situation where we are really pushing hard on the NATO allies on the contributions for the good and sufficient reasons you suggested, and then ending the summit actually with a lot of happy talk going back and forth? They already have the President of the United States today saying he thinks the meeting with Putin will be the easiest thing on this schedule.
Well, it's probably because that's a work in progress. There's no one thing that's going to be accomplished with that meeting except continuing the dialogue. I think going into that meeting with the message that NATO is absolutely in lockstep and providing for our assured security, or our mutual security, is a lever that I would want the president to bring into that meeting. I'm looking forward to being at the NATO summit. I think that we'll have positive discussions. I think the president has raised very important questions, and that's to make sure that we always exceed technological innovation, investment in our troops, and making sure that Russia understands that we have an alliance that would be very difficult to break, and we've got to show commitment to it. But we also have to reduce the threat by trying to normalize or have a more productive relationship with Russia. Both of those have to be moving in the same time.